person, I've suddenly got the personal view of myself because I'm in the main position at this point. Hello friends, this tutorial is going to cover the ins and outs of the Family Search website. There's a lot of options and a lot of information to be found here. This is sort of an overview of everything that you can do here on Family Search, nothing too specific, but maybe some things you didn't know before. I'm signed in to my account. This is the Family Search homepage, and these are the main tabs that we can visit. So we're just going to have an overview of each of these tabs so that you know what's here and what you might be able to do. On the family tree, it gives you an option of looking at the tree, a person, finding in lists. All of these things can be found at the tree, so we're going to travel just to the tree. A couple of interesting things to note is that the default is that you yourself are always the first person in the pedigree chart or in this tree and where the tree branches from. However, in settings, you can change that and you can make anyone you'd like first person. And so when the tree opens, it will open with that person in the first person position of any person that you choose. You just need to know their individual ID number. Every name on Family Search, Family Tree, is given an individual number, 7-letter number combination, and everyone is searchable by their name and fax, or even simpler by the ID number. There are a couple different views that you can look at the family tree in. This is the traditional view, which is very much like a pedigree chart. You can also look at a descendancy chart. Again, with the same person in first position, descendancy comes forward rather than going backward. So we can also view it in a fan chart. Now by default, again, I'm in the first position, but you can move anyone into that position and then view the tree in any of these different views. So this is a fan chart view. There's a portrait view. If you've got pictures attached to files, then it's a lot like the Ancestry's portrait view, where it all springs off and you can see the different relationships and you can see pictures for each of them. I tend to keep it in the traditional view. It's easier for me to sort of navigate and know where I am. In order to move the view, you click and drag in order to move things around. This also moves things around, but it's much more arduous to use than if you've just got a mouse to click and drag. Each of these will expand the tree. You cannot have too many expanded at once. If they begin to overlap, then the last button you pushed tends to dominate over anything else you might have had open at one time. This will let you zoom back, zoom forward. So this is that toggle. You can also print. So I can print a pedigree chart from that option. So we'll close that. So that's a little bit about the tree. A couple of interesting things about these tabs. The tree is where I'm looking at now. If I ever am on an individual's page and I click tree, it will automatically jump to the tree with that individual. This is an interesting, helpful thing that you can jump to someone if you know what their ID number is. It also shows you a history of people that you've worked on in backward order. So the most recent one on top and farther back. So if you've been working on someone and you don't want to go through the process of trying to search for them on the tree, there's a history here of people that you've recently worked with. Same with a person. If I click person, I've suddenly got the personal view of myself because I'm in the main position at this point. But I can also click the down arrow and it will show me people that I've worked with in the past, and I can jump to their personal page. So that's sort of a quick shortcut so that you don't have to keep going and typing in the information and searching for someone that you may be working on the tree. Find is where you go and find anyone on the tree. Again, we're still in tree and we're finding people within the tree. This is where I can put in search parameters for looking for someone on the tree. Click this tab is where I can type in their ID number and jump right to them. So it's pretty handy if you make a note of ID numbers to jump to people that way, if you know you'll be working with them often. In the advanced search, It just gives you the option to match exactly. In the basic search, you will get sort of phonetically close if an exact match isn't found. But an exact search will allow you to choose a fact or a part of the name that you must match exactly in order to get search results. So this is what the Find button does. Lists. Lists shows you people that you're watching and changes to people that you're watching. So why would you want to watch someone, you ask? So again, the nature of the family search tree means that everybody's available to everybody. So anyone can change any file. And let's say you've got a great-great-great-grandfather and you've been in a bit of an editing war with someone else who keeps changing the information and adding or subtracting, and you want to be made aware if something changes in one of those files. Let me show you how to do that. So right here, this little star, I would click that and suddenly I'm watching him. So let's go to my lists, and there he is. And anytime somebody changes something to the people I'm watching, I'm going to get notified here in the lists. I need to come and check the list, but I can come and find out what it is that's been changed. Now you'll note here I'm watching 2 people, but the changes that have been made to the people I'm watching at this point is 0. So you don't have to go and individually check them. It will let you know if changes have been made to people that you're watching. And you can unwatch them from this screen as well, which I'm going to go ahead and unwatch him because he's all right. And then What's New is going to take you to the family search blog and news releases and things that are available there. So that's sort of the overview of the family tree. Let's move to memories. Memories is a place that you can upload, as it implies here, photos, stories, documents, audios, etc. Now, I've done a tutorial about adding media or memories to files. My advice would be that you do not use this tab to upload your information, but rather you go straight to the individual that you would like the memory, photo, audio store, audio file, whatever you'd like, straight to that person. So let's go to the tree, and just as a quick refresher, I'll show you how you would do that. So we're going to go, here we are in Daniel's. We're going to go to memories. This is where I would add photos, documents, stories, and audio. And I'm just one step closer to actually attaching them to the person I mean to attach it through. In the memories tab up here, you can upload things the same way, but you have to go an extra step and go find the person that you want to hook that document to. And if you want more details about adding memories or media to the family search, go and find that tutorial on my YouTube channel that will walk you through all the ins and outs of the different medias that you can add to an individual. But my advice would be that you do not use this memories tab as much as you go to the individual you'd like to hook those memories to, because then they'll never get lost and you can upload to family search and never attach them to anyone, but if you do that, what good are they? So up here in search, we can search records, genealogies, catalogs, books, and the wiki. Now this is sort of akin to Ancestry's searching databases. My humble opinion is that it's not quite as user-friendly and as extensive as Ancestry is, but that said, I have found things here in Family Search that I have not been able to find in Ancestry or other places. So it is certainly in your tool bag of places to search for records and sources, and you can attach records and sources that you find here to people on your tree in the family tree. So that's a handy thing, that if in this search you find a historical record that references your family member, you can attach it to that record in the family tree through this site. Indexing, if you're not aware of it, is a project that takes the records that are being digitized and has volunteers like you and me type in the information into an index so that it's searchable, so it's findable. There's all sorts of sort of movies to show you how it works and why you want to do it. It's an amazing thing. And sometimes when I'm feeling a little stymied in my own research for family history, I come here. It's actually a program that you download and is resident on your computer to do the indexing, but I'll index a few batches and I feel like I've accomplished something. I feel like maybe where I've hit a brick wall in my family history, I can definitely contribute to something here in indexing that may make a record that I'm searching for, that I'm waiting to find available, because volunteers like you and me make it possible to find those records. So here's where you can find a lot of information about indexing and what it does and why you want to do it. And it's a great, really worthwhile project. Temple is the tab where you're going to find the ordinances that you have reserved for the temple. Obviously, this is referring to an LDS account. So there's a number of tabs here. You can find everything that you've reserved, and it will all be listed in one giant file. You can find only the things you have not printed yet. You can find all the things you have printed. Shared means that you have reserved an ordinance, but you have shared it with the temple system. You may believe that by sharing it with the temple system, it'll get done more quickly than if you do it yourself. That's possible, although I have seen records that have been shared with the temple and are still waiting to be done 2 years later. So if you don't live near a temple, but you would like to keep track of family records that you've reserved and you'd like to share them with the temple system, that may be a great option for you. Note that when you reserve a record, you will be here and you will print a report. You take that report to the temple scans it, prints the pink and blue and yellow cards for you at that point. So you have a report here, and it keeps track of ones you have printed and ones you have not printed. And from here you can also reprint any buddy's name that maybe you've lost the card, or the card's been damaged. I had one get spilled water on it, so I needed to reprint that because all the ink had smeared. So from this point you can reprint cards if that's necessary for you to do. You can keep track of what's been finished and what still needs to be done. So gray means that it's completed, and yellow means in this case not printed. And in process, so you can keep track. Note that if you reserve a name for the temple, it appears on this record. When that person is completely finished, they simply disappear from this tab. So you're not going to be notified per se if you shared cards with family members and they complete it. You won't be notified so much as that person will just sort of disappear from this report. So my goal obviously eventually is for all my reserve to be 0, because I have finished everything that I have put on reserve and I'm ready to go and look for more family members who need to go to the temple. But this is a great place to keep track of what you have reserved and what you still need to do, and this is where you find it. This little red asterisk implies that I have opportunities, which is the last tab here. Opportunities is sort of a search engine that they've set up where they scan your tree for opportunities. Now, I've gone through all of these, and most of them, actually all of them, were born within the last 110 years, and I am not the closest living relative to grant permission to have these temple work done. So for me, these opportunities aren't really opportunities, and I could go through and dismiss them, but I'd like to sort of keep track of them and check their dates every now and then to see if maybe one of them is ready for me to do. So if you have a red asterisk, that's what that means, is that it's telling you you have opportunities. But beware that it may be a tease, and you need to go check out those opportunities and be sure you have permission to do those. And that's pretty much an overview of what's available on Family Search in all of the 5 different tabs that you could do. And so I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching.
This lesson is a case study on how to find records on individuals and then to attach them to various individuals in your tree.
Adding sources in Family Search Tree. Since anyone can alter information in Family Search Tree, it is important that you add
Today we are going to be talking about basic. And now we're back to where we started on the person page of the individual. Okay. Now, let me open up this record hint real quick. Match. Now, why is that? Look at the name, the first name. Heikki here. He was born in Finland. We've got a few options. So we already talked about this review and attach option. Okay.
Okay, welcome. In this mini webinar, we're going to talk about how to match up people between Roots Magic and Family Search Family Tree. Now, matching up is critical because it's the first step towards doing anything with Family Search Family Tree. Basically, matching up is where you identify a person in your file, say John Smith, and you find that very same John Smith in Family Search Family Tree, and you tell Roots Magic that they are the same person. And once that match is made, then Roots Magic is then able to share data, check for updates, read discussions, and other features in the future. So, let's see how this works. First of all, you'll notice that each little tree next to each name is gray. Now, if you don't have those gray icons, look at the other webinar on getting started with Family Search Family Tree, and we show you there how to turn those trees on if you don't have them. But if you see a gray tree, that means that that person is not matched up with Family Search Family Tree, and that's a problem because
Merging duplicates in Family Search Tree.